Okay. Where the heck is that leak? What is that? Oh my gosh. We still have this? I thought we got rid of this ages ago. There you are. Oh cool, my old Genesis. The Sega Genesis. Look at this thing, it's like a spaceship. This thing gave Nintendo a run for their money and caused the whole console war eras back in the 90s. Now everybody knows about the console wars. Nintendo and Sega duked it out and kids would have arguments on the playground about which console was better. They would choose their friends and enemies solely based off of what console they played. And if you didn't play the same console that little Jimmy was playing, well, you could forget about being invited to his birthday party. Honestly, it serves them right for owning a console that their parents probably bought them that they had no control over. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this topic, but just to get the gist of it, Sega saw Nintendo's NES and treated it like they dissed their mom and swore to have their vengeance by any means necessary. Now, time went on and consoles such as the Sega Saturn and Sega Dreamcast came out in an attempt to keep up with the competition, but those consoles didn't deliver as strong against the competitors like the Genesis did. Thankfully though, Sega kept making games, but this time releasing it on their former competitors' consoles. Now, I can only imagine what a kid that grew up during the console wars must have felt when they saw a Sonic game on PlayStation. No, I wasn't around when these shenanigans were going down. I was born near the end of the 90s. The Dreamcast had released when I was still fresh out of the oven and not even a sperm when the Genesis was released. At the time though, my parents didn't really have the money nor the incentive to purchase the latest video game consoles. So, we didn't really have the latest tech in the house, but I didn't care. The Genesis and the select few games I had was all I knew at the time, and I enjoyed every moment of it. Just look at some of these great titles. Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Mortal Kombat, Toe Jam and Earl. These are great. The one game I remember playing the most on this thing was Sonic the Hedgehog 1. This was my favorite pastime as a kid. I remember begging my mom to let me stay on the TV just a little bit longer because I finally got past some level I was having trouble with. I wanted to see what adventures lied beyond Spring Yard Zone. I was 4 back then, I was only allowed on the TV for an hour, so when it was time to turn off the TV, I had to start all over from the beginning. Now I did eventually end up beating the game. I went to my local video game rental store and I rented out Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection. It was here where I was finally put at ease knowing that I finally beat the game that I was having so much trouble with in my childhood. But that was during middle school, so I don't really have much memory of it. I actually still own that same game that I rented. When I took it back to the store to return it, it turns out that they went out of business, so I just sort of kept it. But it's still pretty cool to have. It's like a little memento, a reminder of when I finally beat the game I was having so much trouble with. Now I've heard people say that this is the worst of the classic Sonic games, but this is such an iconic game. Sega keeps re-releasing it, so there must be something that people love about it. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is what put Sega on the map as a console manufacturer to be reckoned with. How bad can it be? The older games have a unique charm to them you don't really find anywhere else. Now when people bring up this sentiment when it comes to the modern games, I can kind of understand this. Now it seems like for every modern Sonic game that I enjoy, there's just a bunch in between that don't really click with me. Now I know some people who are fans of some of the games I'm not too fond of, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, I respect that. Actually, come to think of it, when I was younger, I just liked every Sonic game and treated it like it was manna from heaven. For example, Sonic Adventure 2 used to be a blast, but when I revisited it later in my life, I just dreaded when I needed to play anyone other than Sonic or Shadow. Maybe people have had the same effect on themselves when they replayed the first game later in their life, but I don't ever recall having the same experience when I first beat the game in middle school. Now I didn't actually own the game by itself growing up. I had this 6-pack cartridge that came with some great classics. So if I'm going to do a review on this game, I'm going to have to put aside some biases. Alright, when we start the game, we're presented with the menu. Odd choice of music. I feel like it should be at a Victorian hall or something.
More tea, sir.
Victor, how many times must I tell you, do not interrupt me when I'm playing on my 6-pack cartridge? Away with you!
There's something about this footage. Can't really put my finger on it though.
Okay. Yes, I see. The quality is S.
Yeah, there's no real easy way to record off of this thing in HD without breaking the bank. This is a 30-plus-year-old console anyway, and other affordable hardware either out of stock or hard to come by. I also tried one of those HDMI adapters, but while it looks alright on the TV, the quality when you try to record off of it is less than stellar, so just for convenience sake, I'm just going to be playing the Sega Aegis port on the Nintendo Switch. And just to compensate, I'm going to be using this USB Sega Genesis controller, officially licensed by Sega.
I know them.
Such an iconic screen. That finger wag and that look he gives you, it's like he's about to give me a stern talking to. Green Hill Zone. god, all the memories just pour back in when I come here. Sega absolutely achieved their goal of ingraining this image into people's minds for years to come. Alright, I think a good place to start would be the game itself. What's it about? How does it work? There are 7 zones to the game. Green Hill Zone, Marble Zone, Spring Yard Zone, Starlight Zone, and of course, Final Zone. The main villain of the game is Dr. Eggman, or as I call him, Dr. Ivo Robotnik. Sonic's goal is to stop Robotnik from roboticizing all the animals. At the end of each stage, if you happen to collect 50 rings, you can enter the Special Zone. The goal of the Special Stage is to collect the Chaos Emeralds. Now for this game, I usually just skip the Special Stages because you don't really turn into Super Sonic when you get the Emeralds, and there's not really much content to the good ending. Plus, they're pretty annoying to get through, so you might as well just skip it. They are good for collecting continues, though. And I don't think I need to point out the music. I absolutely love this game's soundtrack, composed by Masato Nakamura. Green Hill Zone and all the other songs in here, except Scrap Brain, are so iconic they set the bar for how later Sonic games should develop their music. Although, some of them didn't get the memo. Seriously, is there anyone who actually likes this type of music?
Yeah, man. Dude. Check it out. It's them. Oh my god. We gotta go talk to them.
What do you mean, man?
Dude, you don't know.
Those are ducks, bro.
They're the singers of Oil Desert from Sonic 4. We gotta talk. Hey, I gotta talk to you. I'm talking to you. I love you. Sonic, open up.
Great music paired with great visuals sets the tone of what kind of adventure to expect up ahead. When you hear Green Hill Zone, you know you're in for a nice stroll down the park. When you hear Starlight Zone, you feel like you're gazing out to the night sky, wondering what lies beyond. And when you're in Labyrinth, you want to find the nearest tub of water to end it all. Now music and visuals are one thing. What really makes a game are the game mechanics. Now Sonic games got to have good physics. Sonic builds up momentum to gain speed and overcome obstacles that couldn't be overcome normally. The two go together like scratch and grounder. I feel this is probably the most important factor in making a good Sonic game, right next to level design. It's rewarding to get to the top of a loop where you feel like you're about to fall off and then you go down and get a huge boost of speed. The rush is exhilarating. Now, for example, look at a game like Sonic Generations, a game I do enjoy. When you go around that loop in Green Hill Zone, it just doesn't feel the same. That's not to say the gameplay is bad, no, not by any means. It's cool to see him go around that loop, but I feel like this just works best with 2D Sonic. For example, look at classic Sonic in the same zone, in the same game. It works. So when it comes to the 2D Sonic games, it's absolutely essential that Sonic's physics are done correctly. When Sonic is running, it needs to feel natural to control. Unlike However, in this game, Sonic is not nearly as fast as he is in the other games. Now for the time, there probably weren't many games where you could go as fast as this, but coming from Sonic Mania to this one is jarring. It's like going high speed on an 85-mile-per-hour highway, to all of a sudden being met with a 15-mile-per-hour school crossing. Sonic's rolling is much faster and more akin to the later games, so if you want to feel any speed at all, you better keep finding ways to build up momentum and keep rolling around. At the speed of sound. Now this sometimes works well. Like look at this part where I want to get the 1-up box with no apparent way to get it. I need to build up speed to hop up there, and what appears to be an obstacle up ahead is actually what helps me to get up there with the right timing. And just look at this bit in Starlight Zone. Wow! Look at him go! Now that's what I want to see more of. The problem is this rarely happens in this game. And this is where people's main problem with the game pops up. The levels. While Green Hill and Starlight are cool, almost all the other stages are just heartbreaking. They purposely punish you for going fast. You know, the point of the game? The selling point that advertising campaigns put their whole focus on? Now I don't mind Marble Zone and Spring Yard Zone too much because there are some sections where you do get to go fast. There's nothing wrong with taking a little break from speed to introduce a little bit of platforming. And I'm not trying to say there shouldn't be any obstacles at all, no, far from it. What I'm saying is that they need to be done correctly. Just putting a bunch of threats in my way isn't really fun. But Labyrinth and Scrap Brain, ooh! These two stages are the banes of my existence. Every 2 steps I take is just certain doom. Up there? Dead. Down there? Dead. And Labyrinth is 90% water. As if Sonic wasn't slow enough, he becomes even slower. And this is also not to mention Scrap Brain. It seems like every 2 steps you take in that stage, there's some flames or some pit of death waiting. These 2 stages are just genuinely not fun to play. Also, the first couple times you try to get past this stage, you just keep retrying over and over, and that music is just ingrained into your mind and it never stops playing! I swear this music's gonna give me an anxiety attack the next time I hear it. Also, I forgot to mention that unlike the other classic Sonic games, there are 3 acts to each level, meaning you start a level looking like this, to this, and finally this. Well, at least the visuals of the stages are nice. Oh dear, I appear to have hit some spikes. That's okay though. Sonic has a few frames of invincibility to ensure the player has an opportunity to recover from danger. The developers knew that lives are a precious commodity to a player, so giving them a chance to learn from their mistakes and keep moving is a wise lesson to teach. Good on them for that.
I give people too much credit.
This makes no sense whatsoever. So the players have a chance to recover from enemies but hit spikes and that's a death sentence? And this doesn't seem like an easy thing to miss during development and testing. Spikes are present everywhere in the game as an obstacle for Sonic to avoid. So was this an intentional decision? They remove it in the later game, so either this was a mistake or they received backlash for this quote-unquote feature of the game. Whatever it is, I'm glad it's gone. I remember playing Mania for the first time and I hit some spikes. Had a little bit of a PTSD moment there.
No, wait, please! Oh.
At Act 3 of each zone, you fight Dr. Ivo! Okay, no. You fight Dr. Robotnik in different variations of boss battles. Labyrinth Zone, in its infinite wisdom, has a boss battle where you hop up and avoid spikes and darts. I think I've only ever beaten this boss a couple of times, because if you get hit just once, you're dropped down into the water where you're slowed down to assured demise. I think I actually remember getting to this zone a couple of times as a kid, but each time I just couldn't do it. It's definitely one of those memories I blocked out. Huh. I don't remember the boss being at the end of Act 2. Hey, I'm not complaining. Any opportunity to get out of Scrap Brain is a godsend. Or not? Ah well, at least I got one last act until the final boss. The worst is over. I've gotten past the horror of Labyrinth. What you got for me, Act 3? Huh, now isn't that funny? This kinda looks like Labyrinth. So you finally get to the final boss, and there's not really much to it. You just sort of stand in these spots to avoid these plasma beams and then try to hit Robotnik whenever you get an opportunity. It's actually kind of underwhelming. Anyway, you beat the boss and all the animals are set free and all's good in the land. Except you gotta collect all the Chaos Emeralds, but we don't care about that. Now this game is pretty hard at first, but after you played it a couple times, you start to learn the ins and outs of it. It becomes a much easier pill to swallow.
Well, after revisiting this game, honestly, it's not as fun as I remember.
Granted, the areas where you do get to go fast are pretty fun, but the level design could have been much better than this. And they do get better in Sonic 2, 3, and Knuckles. Come to think about it, before today, anytime I did play this game, I would just quit halfway through. I think my subconscious just didn't want to put up with the later part of the game. Well, with that said, I suppose this is the weakest of the classic games.
If that's the case, why do I still love this game so much?
While I think nostalgia plays a big factor in this, I think an even bigger contributor is, get this,
nostalgia!
I never got to the later stages as a kid because of how hard the first couple of stages were to me. I never got to experience the displeasure of playing Labyrinth or Scrap Brain. The fact I never went through those stages, I just assumed whatever levels lied beyond Spring Yard Zone was just a fun-filled, high-speed action adventure. And something tells me that a lot of people probably went through the same thing. So whenever the topic of the first Sonic game is brought up during discussions, it's probably well received by people who've played it in their childhood. I mean, hey, just before today, I had nothing but praise for this game. So, despite the game's flaws, I think I'm still going to keep revisiting this time and time again. It shaped me into the person who I am today, so to Sega, thank you.